Okay, Dan.
All yours, Lawrence.
Okay, Dan, you're still muted. All right. Dan, you're still muted.
There we go.
All right, good. All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Lawrence Kazan Cassini and Dan Burke. Dan at the moment is not in Pennsylvania. He's further northeast, I guess. And I want to mention something about him in a second. I just want to start off with my usual mantra about the slaughterhouse of failure is not in my destiny. I will persist until I succeed. Og Mandino. The only way you can fail in this business is by quitting. And that's generally in life. If you persist, you can reach your goals, and you will reach your goals. So Dan had a little serious upset in his routine of life with some rather bad news, but he's, as I mentioned it before, he's absolutely resilient and he's adaptable, and his personality came through, and that is where you get a curved ball sent to you. You know, life is full of curved balls, and it's how you react to the unexpected, how you react to something that's out of your control, how do you react to things that are difficult. And Dan is an example of that exact subject that we're talking about today, where resiliency and adaptability and strength of personality comes in. So we're lucky, and Dan, thanks for being on the call, as usual. But again, as usual, what is usual? Thanks for being on the call, because you're an absolute pillar. So today we're going to talk about character, adaptability, and it's basically about the attributes we have between a finite and an infinite-minded thinker. So before we do that, I thought we'd put a little screenshot of, or two screenshots of something that are very, very impactful. And the dates, the figures on those may be a little bit changed, but they're still very, very relevant. So check out these I'm sorry, I'm trying to move my screen. There we go. 100 people at the age of 65. This is from the CDC, from the Bureau of Census, excuse me. 16 had already died. 66 were earning less than $30,000 a year. 13 were earning over $30,000 a year. 5%, 5 out of those 100, were earning over 60,000. Only 1% were considered wealthy. Just think about that for a second. Out of 100 people of 65, 66 are earning less than $30,000 a year. That's the United States. I mean, I'm not talking about Afghanistan. And 16, right now, I don't know what that statistic is right as of today, but anyway, these are just guides of what it was. And only 13 people were earning over 30,000, and only 5% had an income of over 60,000. So, and only 1% was wealthy. Let's look at the 1% for a second. 1 out of 100 is considered wealthy. The 1%, out of that 1% wealthy, 10% of those are, out of that 1%, top professionals, 10% are CEOs of major stock companies, 5% are super salespeople, people selling planes and ships and stuff, 1% of athletes, and 74% of the 1% are business owners. So think about that for a second. Out of the all the businesses that start up in the US, 85% fail within the first 5 years. 85% of all businesses in the US, approximately, fail within the first 5 years. So when we look at this figure and we say 1%, and of the 1%, 74% of that 1% are business owners. That's who we are. And so that's why we've got to try and put things into perspective when we look and see how our business is, how are we doing compared to everybody else, and so on and so on. We've got so much going for us. We've already got an established business, which is 36 years old. It's got 80 scientists. It's got, we spend $60 million a year in research and development. It's all done for us. So really, there's no excuse to fail. If considering we've got everything done for us, the only way we can fail is if we quit. That's the only reason. So, so that's something that is worth really bearing in mind, in my opinion. The other thing that we're talking about is, it starts off with, as I said, character, adaptability, resilience, and how am I going to react? And so uncertainty creates stress. We're happy when we're in known comfort zone of known factors, and we're given a guideline, go to college, get a degree, get a job. That's a kind of a known thing. So, and that is the general way we go. But if we're actually, if we have any adversity there, that's when our personality comes out, and that's what we've got to build on.
Absolutely. I want to quickly just take a second to talk about those two graphs that we looked at. They're old. The data on there is old, but I don't think that the percentages probably have changed all that much. So, really good information to keep in mind about what we're doing and working for yourself and being entrepreneurial. I think it's very important to keep those statistics kind of in mind when you're thinking about why you're doing this. So, it's always good to be reminded of those things. But when we start talking about, being resilient, I want to take a quick second to just kind of define resilience. It's the ability to overcome adversity and turn challenging experiences into positive outcomes, right? So we've all had a lot of adversity this year, dealing with COVID-19 and whatever other challenges have been thrown at you throughout the year. But it's taking that adversity and using it to your benefit, right? To grow as a person, as a business person, grow in every single aspect of your life. And, adversity allows you to do that. Without adversity, we can't have resilience, right? So we need that resilience. And I think it's an important part of our daily life, or that adversity is an important part of our daily life, to be able to see how we're going to react under those uncertain times, when curveballs are thrown at us, and how we're going to come out of those things, and what our mindset's going to be, and our attitude, and our emotional status, and things like that. So adversity is a very, very important part of our daily, monthly, yearly life, and it's just how you're going to react to those things that kind of are unintentional, that happen to you throughout the year. So very important. So Lawrence wanted to also talk a little bit about finite versus infinite, and we've spent some time talking about growth mindset versus fixed mindset, and this is just kind of building on that. So Lawrence, if you want to just kind of explain a little bit about infinite versus finite.
Yeah, you actually said a word there that is key to everything: attitude. Attitude is who we are. It defines who we are. We could be somebody that is resilient, or we could be someone that just throws our arms down and says, "Oh, this is just horrible. This is a mess. I can't cope with that." So in light of where we are and in light of the situations in which we find ourselves, attitude becomes key, key, key. It defines who we are. That's my opinion. So the difference between finite and infinite minded, finite player is somebody who is afraid of unknown and uncertainty. The finite player, the finite, we'll call him a player in life, is a person who wants to go for known targets, wants to be able to achieve for himself or herself something, and it's about me more than anything else, and it's about how I can do that for me. Whereas the infinite-minded thinker, the infinite-minded player, is going to embrace uncertainty and is going to go forward and think of the common good and think of helping other people as well. Because by helping, by achieving something for the others, he's achieving for him or herself as well. So the unknown uncertainty thinking, it build the unknown uncertainty helps to build the infinite player to be much more successful for himself and for everybody, for the other person, the other people.
So a couple of things you said there. One was, expanding on the attitude, and then resilience. The thing about attitude is it can be contagious, right? So if you have a positive attitude, that's gonna kind of rub off on the people around you and people on your team. If somebody has a negative attitude, it's going to have the same effect, right? And so, as leaders, I think we have a responsibility to keep a positive attitude in the face of adversity, and kind of teach that to our team, and that mindset, as well as how to become resilient, or be resilient after dealing with adversity. And that adversity can be different things. It can be you've made 10 different cold calls to physician practices, and every single one of them said no. How are you going to react to that? Or that they're not interested? How are you going to adjust what you're doing? How are you going to maneuver to make this business successful? And so, we can, as leaders, we can play a huge role in helping adjust people's attitude and how adversity affects them and how they become resilient. And so, finite mindset, like Lawrence mentioned, is, it's a more individual thing. It's a more black and white. You view things or situations as either a win or a lose. There's always a scorecard in everything that you're doing. You're always comparing yourself to other people, not working as a group. And an infinite mindset is one where you're showing more gratitude, you're building relationships, and you're all kind of working towards a common goal, and you're training or leading people to work for a common goal. And so infinite-minded leaders, they don't ask their team to fixate on the finite goals, but they ask them to figure out a way to advance toward a vision of the future that benefits everyone. And so it's about the group rather than the individual. And that's what an infinite leader brings to the table, is that ability to work with everyone to reach a common goal that benefits the masses.
Absolutely. So that's exactly right. And the person that is an infinite thinker is a person that doesn't let the ego get in the way, because the ego is another big thing. Ego is the best friend we've got, but it's also the biggest enemy we can have if we allow it to. So the infinite thinker will think in terms of common good, and will think of how can I get my team forward? What can I do for my team? What can I, and even there, when curveballs come, then he or she is not, can be humble enough to say, look, we've got a problem here, let's try and how can we sort this out, rather than the finite player is just going to think about me, and try and solve the problem for himself or herself. So ego plays a big part in this thing too.
Yeah, and the finite leader is going to look um, at what we're doing, and when talking to a physician practice or recruiting somebody into the business, they're going to be looking at whether or not they're either selling them something or not selling them something, right? And the infinite leader is going to be looking at how they can solve their problem for the common good, or for their good, not just for the individual, the salesperson, or the consultant's own good. And so, it's been shown over and over again that infinite kind of mentality, where you're not trying to sell somebody something, but rather trying to solve their problem for their own good, and that's ultimately going to benefit you, is a much more reproducible and successful strategy than just what I am going to get out of selling something to somebody. And so it's not, I think in Jerry Savage's book, or somebody else may have said this, but it's, sales isn't something that you do to somebody. Sales is something that you do with somebody. And I think that's the infinite mindset.
So some of the attributes of are adaptability, patience, empathy, trust. Behave in a way that people can trust you. It's about relationships. It's about a team. And the team is as strong as the weakest link. And we build with optimism. We begin with optimism. We build with we know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You've got to have that absolute belief. But you don't really know exactly where it is, but you know it's there. And the way that we can achieve what we want to is by involving our team, where we're working for a common good, and we're working for the common good of the person we're talking to. So it could be somebody that we can see that might need a scanner, or might need to have less, or to be able to have more time away from work, or to be able to have less stress. The three big things, in my opinion, that people suffer from, especially doctors, are time, stress, and money. Those three things. And if we can solve or contribute to solving some of those problems that they have, then we will achieve for them and for us what we want, what they need.
Yeah, and these can be cultivated. So a growth mindset can be cultivated. If somebody has more of a fixed mindset, we can train people to have more of a growth mindset. And the same thing with infinite versus finite mindset. That those things can be cultivated. And if we do that with our team, we're going to have everybody kind of on the same page. And so, I've said this before. I think our teams are our most important asset. And so when I'm talking to folks about joining us, I really spend a lot of time, 5 or 10 minutes, talking about our team and the level of individuals that we have on the team, what everybody brings to the table, the fun that we have. And it really seems to resonate with people. And I think, especially during these times, I think people are really looking to belong to something. And so I think that's important for everybody on this call to just kind of, think about how you're talking to folks about this business, because it's not necessarily all about the scanner. It's not necessarily all about the supplements. It's not necessarily all about the money. For me, it's a lot of it's about the people that are on our teams and that we're interacting with on a daily basis. And I think it's important to get that across, that's an important part of the organization. Because if that doesn't resound with people, they're probably not going to be interested. And if it does resound with them, you're going to be adding, really good quality people to your team that are probably going to be trainable and coachable and be able to help them cultivate their growth mindset and their infinite mindset and things along those lines. So I do spend a lot of time talking about our people, and Lawrence and Michael Cook and Ryan Lucci and some of the other folks on our team, and just really getting people to realize that we're more than just a sales organization. we're more about the people on our team, because that's our biggest asset.
It's about inspiring. It's about inspiring the people to see sometimes what they don't see in themselves. You know, I think I've said this before. Sometimes people are not, they need a push to be able to see in the mirror what we see. We see somebody and we think, my gosh, this guy's got real potential about, you know, or he needs help, or he's got potential, whatever we see in the person. But that person may not even see it in themselves. But if we then help them and inspire them to see in themselves what they are capable of, what they can achieve, and what they can do, and we do this in a way which has got no ego from our part, but where we can inspire them and help them in a bigger way, think in a bigger way, so that they don't have to just think about solving their own issue, but that we can elevate them to see a bigger picture. And that's part of what teamwork is all about.
Right. If we go back to those first couple of diagrams that we showed, you know, maybe it's not all about attaining wealth, being in this business. Maybe it's more about the camaraderie, or, you know, just making enough money to pay your bills and live comfortably. And but if I think if we work as a team and we all have that common goal, you know, we're going to elevate people, like Lawrence said, and probably elevate ourselves even. I mean, I've learned a tremendous amount from being involved in this group. And, you know, I think, you know, learning how to be resilient, or more resilient in the face of adversity, and having that growth mindset and the infinite mindset, you know, it's just going to elevate you to a point where you're going to be closer and closer to reaching that 1%.
You know, Dan said as well, what just Dan said a little while ago about what it's not just about the money. My wife is taking Italian lessons. She's got an Italian teacher in Canada, actually. She does Zoom calls. And it reminded me of Italy, where I lived there, where money is almost secondary. What counts there are things like family and food and music and camaraderie and being together, and that part of the humane side of it is something that I think in the States we've kind of lost a little bit, because we're so focused on money and bigger car and better area where we live in and a bigger house and what have you. So Dan, I think, you know, you're quite right. It's not just about the money. It's as I say, the doctors have three things that and many people have that are problematic: time, stress, and money. So if we can help them with time by making more money, but by helping them with time, that is a solution as well that is great, and it applies to us too. And stress is another thing. Stress and time, those are two things that we need to try and help people achieve for themselves and for us as well. By helping them, we'll help ourselves too. So yeah, I think the quality of life comes into this too.
Absolutely. You know, for me, joining this business, a huge part of it was a lifestyle that it was going to afford me, quality of life, less stress. It wasn't necessarily about the money. And for me, one of the most important things was the people, and being able to work with a group of people and help other people achieve their goals, you know, and get people on the right path to financial freedom or lifestyle change, or, you know, whatever it may be for that particular person.
Actually, I was just looking at some of the comments here, and actually we're almost at time. If Dan, if you've got anything else, we could maybe open it up if anybody's got any questions or anything. I see there's quite a lot of interchange here.
Yeah, I don't have anything else, Lawrence. If we want to open it up for questions, that's great.
What do you have?
Can I say one comment, Lawrence? Dan?
Please.
I took some notes, and you talk about the infinity. And when I think in infinity, I think in the infinity universe, and with the infinity gratitude. So we can take whatever we want from the universe that is infinite, but the problem is that sometimes our mind and our heart is not infinite. We do to make no infinite. We always in the state of mind. But also I would like to add that it's not only in the state of mind, but it's in the state of our heart. I mean, our mind guides us, but our heart gives us our direction. So it's what leads me is my heart.
Good.
May be confusing, but
oh, good, good. Very good. Excellent.
No, great comments. I wholeheartedly agree with you.
One grow, you 10 years of prosperity, grow trees, 100 years of prosperity, grow people, Chinese proverb. You know, and on that subject of what you've just said about the infinity and the universe and so on, I want to just quickly say one thing. In Thailand, it's a subject, but Mai Pin Rai in Thai means it doesn't matter. And this was something that happened in Thailand, and it was very serious in my mind. And a very sage person who was actually a prince there said to me, Mai Pin Rai. And I said, what the hell is that? He said, it doesn't matter. And I didn't understand what Mai Pin Rai meant until 20 years later. I mean, we had a serious problem there. We lost a lot of money and so on. And he said, and I realized that the universe is infinite, and yet our minds are so tiny, microscopic. The whole world is tiny. Light travels at 186,000 miles a second. And we are light years away from other solar systems that may even have life on them. And we look at our world and we think huge, you know, mountains, valleys, deserts, 7 billion people, it's massive. But if you look at it in the context of the universe, it's nothing. It's not even a grain of sand on all the beaches of the world. But we think that this world it's all here, and that more important, we're all here in this world and it's all about us. We're so wrong. We're nothing. So if we look at that, it can humble us to be more empathetic towards everything we do, and to be more conscious of how and who we talk about and to.
Absolutely, Lawrence. Really good comments. And I think, you know, all of those things, heart, mind, you know, all of those things help us to have more gratitude for the things that we have and the people in our lives, and you know, every minute of every day that goes by.
Okay, thank you. I agree with you. Thanks, Mansi, for your quote. Thanks, everybody, for your comments. Anne Arnold, Mansi, everybody for your comments, Deborah. Martin, thanks, everybody, for being on the call. And have a great week. We look forward to seeing you next Monday at the same time, same place with Scott Bennett, and then Wednesday with Mansi and Kent. So have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you so much, Dan. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Lawrence. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you, gentlemen. As always, terrific.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lawrence.
You guys. Thank you. Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
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 Thank you all.